Hola, buenos días, amigos. ¿Cómo está? Well, that's all my Spanish out the way. Today is Monday the 17th of June, I think, and it's the day that I'm doing my last ride on the island. Now today I had a choice of two rides to do. The original, which I'll post up here, and the ride that I actually decided to do, which I'll show you on screen over here. I'm currently in Llucmajor, and the ride that I've chosen to do today is the ride up to the monastery at Randa. Now, I think Randa is a small village, a few clicks outside of Llucmajor. I haven't reached there yet. I'm going to pan the camera around in a second and show you where I think I'm going to. Now, the Randa Climb is famous on the island because of what's on top of it, which is the monastery. And it's from what I was reading this morning, the oldest monastery on the island, built in the 1300s, I think, or the 13th century, something like that. Anyway, let's take a look at where I think it is that we're actually going. Now, if you look at the hill in the distance, I'll try and zoom into it. That's where we're going, I think. And on top of that hill somewhere is the monastery, and there's also a weather station, including like a radar station, I think. So I think that's where we're going. It's about a 4.5 kilometre climb, an average gradient of around 5%. So quite tame by the island standards. Anyway, let's press on. So if you can hear me over the noise of the two-stroke in front of me that I'm slowly catching, I think we're still in Llucmajor. He's motor pacing me. Hopefully the mic's switched on by now. From that signpost that we've just passed, you saw that the village of Randa, 4 clicks away, and the monastery at the top, which on the signposts is spelled as C-U-R-A. I don't know whether that's pronounced as Cura, 9 clicks away, which tallies with what we already know about the climb. It's about, I don't know, 4.5, 5k climb at about 5%. So now there's a little less traffic on the road. Welcome to today's video. Welcome back to the channel, Live and Trek Go Cycling. I'm not going to launch into any more Espanol. I pretty much exhausted all my Spanish in that brief introduction back there. I left the hotel in Palmanova this morning just before 8:30, and the temperature then was 24 degrees. Now, I'd not filmed anything at all until arriving at Llucmajor. My route this morning to get to Llucmajor is identical to routes that I've done in 2 previous videos. The first one, the Llucmajor loop, and then the social ride that I did with Vicky down to Palma, i.e. from Palmanova into Palma, through Caen, Pastia, Saranol, and then out. So the reason I didn't film any footage there is because you've already seen that, and there's no point in overloading you. And now, after leaving the hotel, the temperature had risen from 24 to 32 degrees. And that's where we are around now. So, according to the weather forecast, it's forecast to be a degree or two warmer today than yesterday. Not the best place to try and do commentary on this road because it's quite busy with traffic. Right turn ahead. Turned off that main road now, and this road is much quieter. Much quieter. Now apparently there's more than one way to climb the Randa up to the monastery. There's a southern side ascent and there is a northern side ascent, and I don't mind admitting I've got no idea which one it is that I'm actually going to be doing. But the reason I chose this route today over the alternative is for two main reasons. Number one, today's route, although 10 mile longer, has got 2,000 foot less climbing, and the views. Number two, the second reason are the views from the top, overlooking the flatland for miles around. Once you get to the top of the climb, apparently it's supposed to be a bit special, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, although the climb is 4.5, 5k in length, you know, which is short in comparison to the likes of Puig Major, and its average gradient is about, I don't know, 5. Coming out of the village of Randa, there are ramps of 10%, which I might be on now, but the website says that I've read, it flattens off pretty quickly. So peaceful here, so tranquil. In comparison with that main road that I was on, with its noise of the cars constantly coming past, this is another world. All I can hear is bird song. So as you can see from this sign on my right, we're just leaving Randa, and the climb 4.4k, 5.6%. Cura. I think that's one of the names of the monastery at the top. I'll try and put some text on the screen as to what the proper name of the monastery is. But views are formidable from the top. I would have said I'm about halfway up the climb, and you can already see the dome just on the top of the hill to my 11 o'clock, which is obviously part of the weather station. And on the subject of the weather, today is glorious and it's currently 36.3 degrees. 1.3 mile left of the climb to do. 356 foot. So far going up the climb, it's been relatively quiet. I'd say about 3-4 cars have passed me going up and down, and I've only seen one other cyclist coming down. So considering time of year, and in comparison with the iconic climbs on the island, this is proving to be lovely and peaceful so far. There are a few spots of shade as I go up, not many, but once you hit the shaded areas, it is a welcome relief from the heat of the day. But the peace and quiet, and the tranquility is nice, you know. And you can just hear your own heartbeat thud away in your chest from the exertion as you ascend. Currently 7% on this section, heart rate 161. Trying to keep it nice and steady. I don't want to go into the red at the best of times, but especially not in this heat. I brought two 750ml bottles with me today. No energy drink in either bottle today, just hydration, water with a hydration tablet. And I've already gone through one. I'll make sure that I fill the empty one at the monastery and start the return leg with two full bottles. I must be 3/4 of the way up the climb now, and a lovely view's just opened up to my right hand side as I've come around the bend. So I've stopped, as you can see, and I'm just going to pan the camera around to show you the vista that is worth seeing. I think now this is the very top of the climb. As I go around this left bend and the weather station comes into view, according to what I've read, this is it. Yeah, climb complete. Mr. Garmin just told me. I can see the big radar dome to my left hand side. It'll come into shot now. So far, no sign of the monastery. Let's keep the camera rolling. One big golf ball. Garmin at this point is beeping at me to do a U-turn. Not on your Nelly. I've earned my cake. And the cross signifies my cake is up ahead. Hoorah! The website that I read this morning does say, if you come here, go through to the courtyard. Don't just come here and turn around. Car park on the right. Let's swing around here and have a look at some of these views over to my right hand side. Now I noticed this on the way up. The plain, the flatlands before me, obviously on the flight path as you fly into the island to go to Palma Airport, because in the distance I can see a big jumbo jet. So just ahead of us here is obviously the main flight path into the airport. So this is the car park that you first come into as a tourist up to the monastery, and you can see a line of several 4x4 ATV things there, all-terrain vehicles. They passed me coming up, and boy did they make a racket. But let's ignore them, let's pretend they don't exist and pan round to the left and take in, appreciate this fantastic view into the distance. And we're not the only ones enjoying this view this morning. Look here, Mr. Sheepy having his late breakfast. That is something else. Little bit hazy, but that is Majorcan countryside at its finest. So that's where we're going through next. And this must be the main courtyard, and ahead of us there, through that archway, is a sign which says restaurant and bar, which is where we're heading next. Now, as coffee stops go, the monastery is nice. It was well worth stopping at. I had a cafe con leche, a cola, Coca-Cola, which I drank there, and an iced tea, which I used to fill up a bottle, and a nice slice of apple pie. I think it came to about €15.80, probably tourist prices, but there you go. The views from the top here are really lovely, and before I leave, I'll try and get as much footage of the views as I can. But a funny thing happened to me whilst I'm sat at the table. I'd only been sat down for a minute or two when a second cyclist pulled into the courtyard, obviously to use the cafe as a coffee stop as well. And I noticed the cyclist had a tattoo on the back of his back of his left leg, which caught my attention. It was of the Welsh feathers. And then I noticed he was wearing a Welsh cycling top, and I realised, bloody hell, he's a fellow Welshman. So I shouted out to him and introduced myself, and it turns out he's from Anglesey, which is just up the road from where I currently live on the North Wales coast. and we were both sort of blown away to be 1,000 miles away from home, and both of us bumped into a fellow countryman. So we spent a pleasant sort of 20 minutes sitting in one another's company and chatting about home and how we're finding cycling on the island and so on and so forth. And it was quite a nice thing to do. So the Randa as a climb, is it worth doing? Well, the climb itself isn't too long and it's not too steep, it's nice enough. What makes it worth doing, in my opinion, is the nice coffee stop at the monastery at the top. But more than that, the views from the top across the flat land. You can see sufficiently far into the distance that you can see the sea. So the views alone, in my opinion, are worth doing it. The views alone are worth what effort it takes to get to the top. And it's not a lot of effort, it really isn't. The biggest thing that I've struggled with is the heat. And I normally struggle with that. Anyway, let me know in the comments below whether you've done the Randa climb before and what your thoughts and impressions of it were. So that was the monastery and the coffee stop at the top of the Randa climb. And now for the descent. This should be fun. I'm going to enjoy this. And that's it, we're practically at the bottom. Less than 5 minutes. It's always over so quickly. Back into the village of Randa. Back down towards the coast now, towards Majorca, and then Santuario, and then back along the coast towards Can Pastia and Palma, and back home towards Palmanova. On the journey back home now, got this blasted motorway or main road to my right. But I've just turned the camera back on this very uninspiring road to mention to you the temperature. 37.5 degrees. That's not standing still. That's whilst doing 19 miles an hour. 37.5 degrees. I bet it's not that back at home. Scorcho. Just coming back into Santuario, and you can see the sea between the buildings at the end of the road, the coastline, meaning I'm back on the coastal path. And this is where we start to play the game Dodge the Tourist. You see what I mean? They're in their own little world. They really are. You know, how hard is it? Cross the road, you look both ways. We've been all taught that lesson as children. And here we are, back at the beach at Palmanova, just by the Calvia Heart, up onto the curb. Probably my wife's most favourite beach in Majorca, maybe. So here we are, back on the beach in Palmanova. 63.22 mile ridden. I quite enjoyed that ride. The climb to Randa, the Randa Climb up to the monastery, is it an epic climb? Is it iconic? No. When you compare it alongside Cap Formentor, Sacalobra, the island's true greats, in my opinion, as a climb, it doesn't compare. But is it a nice climb? Yes, it is. Is it a climb worth doing? Yes, it is. The reward that you get from the views from the top is more than worth the effort that you put in to get there, i.e. up the climb. It's not a long climb, as I said earlier in the video. Compared to some of the giants of the island, it's an easy climb. So what I would say is, if you're coming to the island, you're based in the south, if you've not done the Randa before, depending on where you're based, do it. It's worth doing. It's worth making the effort to get up there, to see what's up there and to enjoy the views from the top, because around the 360 degrees of the monastery in the top there's some pretty nice views. So today was my last ride on the island. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed that video at all, or it entertained you, show your appreciation. If you would, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. Thanks very much, appreciate that. If you want to see more of the videos that I produce as time goes by, and you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, it's completely free. And hit that notification bell if you want to make sure that you don't miss any future uploads. So thanks again for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.